Alright, we're out here in the shop, and behind me is the step van. I've dubbed this the swag wagon. I'll get you a shot here of it. This is actually the first day of the build process on this van. We've not done anything to it. It does, however, run and move. It just don't stop. So that is going to be the first course of action, is to make this thing stop. And from what we know about it, it needs brake lines. So I've got a couple of bags of brake lines. We're going to start in on that. This thing's kind of cool. These things are getting hot. A lot of people dragging them out. Something different. Who knows where we'll go with it, or what all we'll do with it. But for now, we want to just get it where we can ride it. We want to drive it, you know, like local cruise-ins, local car shows and stuff. Maybe tote some t-shirts in it and stuff like that. So that is going to be first order of business, is making it stop. Then maybe a good tune-up. This is an inline 6 motor in this and a 4-speed transmission. Clutch feels good, so that's a plus. So let's get into these brakes and these brake lines. Now, we already assume, because I've been around enough vehicles to know when they're this old, that they're going to need a full workup. And these are drum brakes, front and back. This is a 1963 P30 Chevrolet step van. And you can see all this stuff's pretty toasty. So we need to get that off, get in the drum, and check out the wheel cylinders, check out the shoes, and check out the springs, because pretty sure all that's going to need to be changed. I got some help with me today. So let's get into it. We're going to get the other side jacked up, get some stands under it, and get it safe. And then we'll start in on this thing. Alright, got the wheels off of it. And now we are going to pull the hubs and the brake drum off and see what these brakes look like on the driver's side. And let's see if we get down here now. I'm going to pass the camera off to you. And, oh, I better need some rubber gloves. I want to get my hands connected. We'll see here what we can get this off and see what these brakes are going to be. Get down here on my creeper and slide in here. I went ahead and took my brake spoons and went in behind here, and we went ahead and backed the brakes off. So now this right here is something. This cap is not a push, or you know, a lot of them you'll take a little hammer and knock them off. These actually screw on this, and they screw off. You can see the threads right there, which I kind of like that. Somebody's been in here messing on this one. We'll see if we can straighten some of that up after we get this cleaned up. Now let's put a little light on the subject here. Probably not the best place for that. Maybe about right there. Yeah. This is just like anything else. Once you get to this point right here, you've got your Carter key and your castle nut, and everybody knows how that works. And these things can be aggravating. I'm trying to squeeze them together enough to get them to come out. are not going to be any different. They are going to be aggravating a little bit. There it goes. There it is right there. Alright. There's our pin there. That is. Oh yeah. That grease is old and cruddy. While we're in there inspecting the brakes, we'll also inspect these bearings. We'll inspect the drum and all that, see what we're up against, what all has to be changed, if not everything. I don't know, but we're fixing to find out. Alright, there's our castle nut. There's your washer off here. We should have brought the magnet over here. I'm using my brake spoon to help me. There we go. Washer. Yeah, these bearings right here, they're going to probably need replacing. Okay. It is ready to come off of there. Let me get in here because this thing's heavy. Alright. And that is how all that comes apart right there. And these brakes, yeah, she needs shoes, but boy, they're not bad. The springs are in really good condition. The adjusters are in good condition. And everything just needs a real good cleaning. But I would say that right there is a win. So, man, that is terribly nasty. So, we're going to go clean all this up, and then we'll come back and take a look at it after everything's cleaned up. We'll measure these shoes, see what kind of shoes, what size we need, and then we'll go from there. We'll have to get some parts. But I would think that this is looking like right now just a standard brake line and shoe job on this, and the front brakes will be good. We'll go ahead and probably get this thing up on stands and pull the rear off and inspect those too. If we can get it up on stands, then everything's here. Get the vehicle safely supported where we can start removing the actual brake lines and start with that. Looks like that's going to be the focus point of the work. We'll be putting the lines on, and right now, at least up front on this is just going to be a standard brake shoe job. Not terrible. We'll flip this drum up and look at the inside of it and see. Yeah, she's got a little grooving in here. This one here may have to be turned. There's a little bit of grooving right in here. Pretty significant grooving. So this one we may have to have turned. So that is how you remove your hub, assembly, and drum on a 63 Chevrolet P30 Step van. I really like the screw-on cap. Big fan of that. But we'll get this cleaned up, and then we'll come right back. And we will take this side apart on the rear, show you how that comes apart. On these, you have to remove that, just like any 1 ton or 3/4 ton, you've got to remove the axle to get the drum and all that stuff off. So let's see here what we can get done. Where's my tray?
Here.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. All right. Now, this is going to smell bad and it's going to make a mess, so be prepared if you're looking at doing something like this. Alright, there's our axle bolts. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the axle out before we put down any oil dry or anything. And what you want to do when you get this axle out, I'll show you. You're going to want to wrap the splines because you don't want anything to get in those splines. And these are big splines, I'm sure, so, but still, precaution. Here we go. Yep, these are big splines on this. We need to get paper towel. Just yeah, set it down right there. So we're going to drop a paper towel down over this and zip tight. We don't want anything to get in these splines. And you can see that's making a horrendous mess in the floor, but that's okay. We'll get some oil dry on that here directly after we get this axle. This axle is the most important thing because these things, they're not cheap for anything. I don't care whether it's a regular 3/4 ton pickup or, you know, parts are expensive. So if we have good parts, we don't want to take a chance on messing them up. And here comes our help. So you're just going to put a paper towel down over that and zip tight right to it. And then I'm going to get up out of the floor and carry it over here and put it up for safekeeping. Perfect. Alright. Highly recommend using rubber gloves when messing with this stuff because it's just so nasty, and that oil is very hard to get the smell off. So rubber gloves a must. Alright, so now back down here to this. And this is a gasket right here. Right there. These gaskets look really good. So I'm going to take it, drop it in a little bucket of gas down there. You want to grab us some oil dry and we'll just let that drain right on that oil dry and we can clean it up later. Alright, I'll get him to come in here with the camera and you can see there's a nut right here. It has 6 indentions on it. And they make a special socket. These are typically not very tight. So that socket's optional to how bad a condition of whatever you're working on. If you'll get in there and get a shot of this nut right here, you can see there's some tabs right here.
Grab a light.
Now, you can see there's a little washer here with these tabs, and see how this one's bent. That one there is bent pretty good. You got to go in here and bend these back, and that will allow this right here to spin off. Now, like I said, they make a socket, but typically these are not very tight, and you can take the palm of your hand and butt screwdriver and loosen them out of there. So let me get these tabs right here bent back, and we will go from there. Right there. There. Well, that one right there is been in there real good too. This one right here could cause a little bit of issue. We'll see. Let me get over on this side of it. Alright, I got it moving. And there she is. Now what I'm going to do is take my flathead and just set it in one of the notches in the corner and bump it. Now this one is a little tighter than what it should be. Let me do a little bit more work on this tab. And knock my light over. There, that. Okay. There it goes. Very good. That one there did need a little bit persuading. But nothing to write home about. And you need, if you do have issues, you need to go back over and check all your tabs and make sure they're absolutely not bent in any way catching this. Because that is what they're designed to do, is to catch this piece. And what I've got here is just a little old bucket of gas, and we're dropping them in there. Now this thing, it can be a little devil also to snake out of there. What I'm using here is just a brake spoon. I find that it's got a flat enough edge on it that I can get in there and kind of just work this thing, and then I'll use my screwdriver to hold it. we'll just work it around. You don't want to bend it or anything like that. And there's what that looks like. So we'll drop it in our gas and get it good and clean. And now you have another one of those nuts with the little 6 position dimples in them. So we'll go in here, get our screwdriver in the corner of one of those indentions and give it a little tap, and there she's moving pretty good. And we'll spin that right off. While you got all this stuff apart, it's really worth saying you really want to get all this stuff good and clean before you go back with it. And if you have one of these that was super tight and you couldn't just get it right out of the gate by popping it with the palm of your hand or tapping with a screwdriver, you probably want to go get that special socket to put on this, because you don't want to mess one of these up. I mean, this part right here is no telling what this little thing here cost or how hard it would be to find. So I would advise, you know, if you have an issue, to just go ahead and rent the socket. You can probably rent it like AutoZone or somewhere like that, and you can probably buy it for a little or nothing at Harbor Freight. That's 13-14 bucks, I would guess. And you see, it's just like the first one we took off. Drop it in our gas, and now we have a washer in here. Again, I'll use my brake spoon to try to, my flathead, to try to fish this washer out. Alright, this one here is a little stubborn. Some of these are. I'm going to use a little sledgehammer. Now, typically, you want to hit right there. Sometimes you'll hit here, but you got to be real careful. You do not want to bust this drum. So I'm just going to slightly give it a tap. There it is. Right there. Alright, so now let's see what these brakes back here look like. Ooh, this thing, ooh, that's heavy. Alright, you can look in here. Take my glove off. That drum is slick as a ribbon. So, and then right here at our race, they need bearings. The bearings are no good in this one. Okay. So we know we need bearings, but the brakes look really good. So we'll clean that up. You look down in there at that mess of bearings on the ground. Look at that. Yeah, these bearings right here, folks, are shot. The bearings have left the building for sure. Turn that over right there. So that is how you take that apart. As far as right now and today goes. I get attacked by something. Did you see that? What was that?
I think it was a wasp.
Oh, I don't need that. Let's get out of here then. Go over there. I don't want to get stung. God. Attacked. So, as for today, that will be the end of this video. Next time, we'll get a bearing, put a bearing in that hub, clean all the hubs up. Oh, hey, take them back there and show them the passenger side where we took it apart, and let them see how good that looks. That one was really good. Of course, the other side looks just as good. But we do need a bearing, so that's going to do it for this video. We're going to go run down some parts. For sure, up here, we're going to need some shoes on the front, and we're going to need a bearing for the back, and we're going to need brake line. Previous owner of this put a master cylinder on it, brand new. Never got to use it because the brake lines were bad. But anytime you start messing with brakes, you really want to pull everything and inspect them completely before doing anything like that. If you're not familiar with brakes, take it to a professional. You need brakes. So, yeah, we're going to go get some parts. Next video, probably be putting that bearing in, putting these shoes on and brake lines, and bleeding this out and seeing if we can make it stop. So until next time, I'll catch you on this P30. I'm done calling it that. We'll call it the swag wagon. I'm going to see you on the swag wagon here in the next video, and we'll see if we can get this to stop. Hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video. You know, people like these old vans. Share it to them. Catch up with you guys next weekend. Check out our Facebook page. Y'all have a good weekend.